Welcome to the Dash Mindset Podcast. I'm Sherry Zievenbergen. You were born, you're gonna die, and your adventure is your dash in between. So make the most of it. Unlock your potential in all aspects of your dash by embracing your uniqueness and living in a way that's authentic to you, not by doing more things, but by focusing on the right things. I'm a former corporate leader turned coach who's on my own journey, and I'm passionate about helping you on your journey too. So on the podcast, we'll explore how to live authentically by deciphering who you truly are and what you truly want. Are you ready to take a step toward designing your dash? Someday doesn't actually exist, so let's do it now. Welcome to the Dash Mindset Podcast. If you are listening to this between meetings or while desperately trying to find 5 minutes in your day, maybe 7, this episode is for you. Do you ever feel like you're living the same day over and over again? It's a pattern a lot of us live. We wake up, check email, coffee, meetings, more emails, lunch at your desk, more meetings, figure out a quick dinner, maybe shuffle kids to practice or a game, try to get a few more things done, collapse into bed, repeat. And weekends are mostly 2 days of catching up on everything you didn't have time for during the week, like laundry, groceries, maybe that text from a friend you never answered, or maybe you're wondering if you answered it in your head, like I do way too many times. Any of this sound familiar? It's like you're living your own version of Groundhog Day, except unfortunately, Bill Murray isn't even around. So instead of Bill Murray trying wild new things each day, you are the star of your own story, where both work and home have become so well orchestrated. Sometimes it feels like your work and home are controlling you instead of you controlling them. Today, we're talking about why it's so easy to get trapped in these cycles across every area of life. And more importantly, how to break free and more fully enjoy the success you've created in your professional life and personal life without making huge changes and blowing up the entire thing. Here's what nobody tells you about success. The very traits that got you where you are, your ambition, your discipline, consistency, drive, they can also become what also keeps you stuck. So you've mastered execution. You show up, you deliver, you exceed expectations. But somewhere along the way, execution has become autopilot. And autopilot can become Groundhog Day. The problem isn't that you lack the ability or the drive to get things done. It may be that you're spending too much time on things that drain you instead of energize you. It may be that you're saying yes to too many things, or that you're doing work that doesn't play into your strengths. And maybe you're following other people's definitions of success instead of yours. So stop and really think about it. How much of your day is spent doing things you're naturally good at? How much of your day are you doing things that you feel like you should be doing? When was the last time you left work, or maybe your office, at home, wherever you are, feeling energized because you spent time in your genius zone, in a zone where you were so caught up in what you were doing, you lost track of time? When was the last time you came home excited to share something really exciting that happened during your day? A lot of the world rewards busy work and perfectionism. Do more, work harder, check every box, and somehow that same mindset can creep into your personal life. So you become focused on constant productivity instead of asking what actually matters to you. Maybe it's the same restaurant every Friday night because you already know what you like. Maybe it's the same Netflix show because it's one less decision to make. Same weekend routine because planning something new takes energy you just don't have. And you're doing all the laundry and all the grocery shopping and all the things you didn't get to during the week. Predictability is a huge relief when you've been running at full speed, right? But too much of it can leave you feeling empty. Because as a human, you need growth and challenge and progress, not just at work, but in life overall. Because without it, you're just a hamster on a really big, expensive wheel, whether you're in the office or at home. So here's what's really happening. You're not stuck because you lack options. You're stuck because you've forgotten how to see the options. We just get in this state of mind where we can't see them. And more importantly, you've forgotten that you deserve to enjoy the success you've built in all aspects of your life, not just your work life. So here's how this shows up across different areas of life. If you're running on cruise control at work most days, you're bringing that same autopilot energy to the people and activities that are supposed to recharge you. You've mastered figuring out schedules and logistics with your significant other. But when did you have a conversation that made you both laugh so hard your stomachs hurt? Was your last vacation spent coordinating everyone else's needs? Are some of your friendships running on maintenance mode? Maybe you're sending birthday texts, holiday cards, which I haven't done for a few years now that I think about it. But maybe you do. Birthday texts, holiday cards. Maybe drinks twice a year where you mostly complained about work. Are you surrounded by people all day, but you're actually starving for a more meaningful connection that's not work-related? If you are, you may have gotten really good at maintaining who you were 6 months ago. You might be developing your technical skills. You might be adding achievements to your resume, but as a person, you may be staying static. Your life experience overall may be on repeat. And so time may have become meaningless everywhere. January feels like December. This quarter looks like last quarter. Birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, they all start blending together because they've become dates on the calendar that just require planning and planning around. And as a result, you may be disappearing from your own life. Here's where a lot of advice gets it wrong. You're told to follow your passion or make a change, as if you haven't thought of that, right? Some people tell you to get a different job or completely switch industries. Some people tell you to prioritize self-care. Some say you need to put your personal life first. All of those sound great, right? And each of those things might actually make sense, but it's hard to know which one. So you try one for a while, then you try another one. You find yourself still just not as fulfilled as you want to be. And you don't actually want to change the whole thing. You love a lot of the life you've built. It just feels like something's missing. And you can make a few small adjustments to change it. Small adjustments that create ripple effects across everything in your life. So instead of changing everything, what if you make just one small change every week? Here are a few strategies to try. So the first strategy is just doing something surprising. Nothing big, just something surprising. So once a week, do something slightly unpredictable at work or at home. Maybe you stop working earlier than usual and you surprise your family with takeout from a place you've never tried and you've been meaning to. Maybe you just book a random weekend trip or just a random day trip. Maybe you text a friend at 2:00 on a Tuesday afternoon just to say hi, and you don't wait for the weekend to do it. They're little things, but they can make a huge impact just because they're out of the norm. Okay, so do something surprising. The next thing to try is just incorporating a tiny adventure into your day. So if you like to cook, which I don't particularly, but if you do, maybe you try one ingredient you've never cooked with, or you make something new. Maybe you make your drive interesting by listening to something completely different than you usually do, or maybe you stop somewhere new on your way home. Maybe you ask a completely random question in your team meeting that's never been asked before, just something totally random that's not on the agenda. Or maybe you add it to the agenda, right? Or maybe it's just ordering something you've never ordered before for lunch. It doesn't have to be a big thing, just something new. In fact, just shifting your mindset about what an adventure can be will help you find some sense of adventure in every day. Maybe raising teenagers, that can be an adventure, right? Or coordinating logistics with your significant other. What an adventure. Every day can be an adventure when we start to look at it that way. When our boys were little, They had the most adorable shirts that said, "Every day is an adventure" on them. And I think there were some jungle animals on them or something, but they were just the cutest thing. And every time one of them wore it, I remember thinking, why, yes, getting them to daycare with shoes is an adventure. In fact, there was one day, I think I delivered one of my kids without shoes. He must not have been wearing that shirt that day. But truly, it is an adventure if we think about it that way. Kids might have pretty much the same routine every day, but they find adventure in everything, right? And we can do it too as adults if we really try. Okay, the third strategy is just having a 2-minute out of the norm conversation. Maybe it's with your barista at Starbucks when you're going through a line, right? Just asking them about their day, asking them what they have planned for the weekend, whatever. It's out of the norm. Maybe you ask your son or daughter about something they're genuinely excited about. So not just going through the motions of asking about homework or telling them to get off electronics or whatever, but asking them about something they're genuinely excited about. Maybe it's talking to a colleague about something you've never talked about that's completely unrelated to work. Because 2 minutes of genuine connection with whomever can shift your entire day, and it can shift the other person's too. So the goal with this isn't to transform your entire life in 30 days. It's to jerk yourself out of autopilot and make some small, intentional changes and just see what happens. So you might be thinking at this point, or maybe at every point along the way as I've been talking, great, when am I supposed to find time to do this, Sherry? The intent is not for you to add anything to your workload or to your to-do list overall, right? It's redirecting energy you're already spending. So maybe instead of scrolling LinkedIn for 10 minutes before bed, you spend it planning something fun for the weekend. Or maybe instead of complaining about that one meeting, or maybe a couple meetings, you spend that same energy figuring out how to make it better so you have more time for what matters instead. The great thing about small adjustments is they work across everything. Because when you bring more energy to work, you have more energy at home. When you create better connections at home, you show up better at work. It's all connected. So start with one small thing. Pick the one thing that made you think, while I was talking about it. And, ignore the stuff that made you think, really? No, I'm not doing that. Ignore that stuff. But if you pay attention to that one thing that maybe interested you a little bit, that might be your intuition telling you something. So give it 4 weeks. That's it. 4 weeks of one small shift per week. And just see what happens. Because your Groundhog Day, your life, shouldn't feel like a prison sentence you want to escape from. It's actually a choice you make every morning when you decide how you're going to show up at work and at home. So ask yourself, what will I choose tomorrow? If this resonated with you, I would love to hear about it. So send me a message at sherryz@thedashmindset.com and tell me which strategy you are going to try first. Until next time, remember, the goal is not to escape your life. It's to live it more fully, to actually enjoy the success you've built and all of the relationships that make it all worthwhile. So thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player, tell your friends, and leave us a review. Follow me on my social media platforms highlighted in the show notes, and get in touch with me at thedashmindset.com. Share the topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes. Thanks again for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. We'll see you next time. Design and differentiate your dash your way and make today amazing.